out the torch so it does not take in water. Check that the nozzle did not accumulate sparks. Clean with a metal brush. Welding low alloy steel greater than 3 mm, you can use mode 2. Connect the wire with a clamp to the metal. Put on protective tip. Start torch. Set the position of mode 2 to 4. We recommend setting the mode 1 indicator to position 2. Maintain voltage of about 170 volt. Fasten the welding wire in filler holder. Welding wire thickness should be similar to the thickness of the material to be welded. Put on welder's helmet and gloves. For switching into mode 2 and increase welding intensity, bring the torch to the metal so that the arc is connected to it. Keep the arc so that the edges of joint are always molten and the arc does not burn through. If during work the torch accidentally quits, press and gently release the start button repeatedly within 5 seconds to restore. Keep the distance between the nozzle and joint from 3 to 4 millimeters. Increase this distance and the arc length for welding more than 6 millimeters. If working in mode 1 is similar to gas welding, working in mode 2 is similar to argon arc welding. If you remove the nozzle from the metal and increase the arc length, the heat becomes more intensive. In the case of arc interruption, bring the torch closer to the joint to restore it. To turn off mode 2, press the right button to decrease current until the mode 2 indicator shuts off. Be sure the nozzle didn't accumulate sparks. Clean it with metal brush. When the solution in the torch is gone, jet becomes longer and voltage drops. If you did not turn off the torch and the solution is gone, the torch will automatically switch off and overheat indicator will illuminate. To refuel, turn off the torch by pressing the off button on the power unit. Cool the torch. As soon as the torch has stopped hissing, remove the torch to avoid taking in water. If you forget to remove the torch immediately and it has taken in water, start torch and evaporate solution with wrong proportion in mode 1 position 6 until automatic switch off. For repeated refueling and before working each time, fill the torch only with the direct syringe method, which was shown earlier. When completing refueling, wipe the torch dry. At the end of work, be sure the torch is off. Remove the power cord from the socket. Remove the torch cable connector from the power unit. Remove wire with clamp from the power unit. Remove the filler holder from the power unit. Welding cast iron. When welding cast iron with a thickness of more than 3 millimeters, you must use mode 2. The current indicator you will set in mode 2 depending on the thickness of material in accordance to process attachment. We recommend setting the position in mode 1 to position 2. Thick cast iron must be warmed thoroughly. For the filler, use cast iron wire. Try not to change the width of the welded joint by maintaining a constant distance between the nozzle and joint. After welding is complete, allow the joint to cool. Welding aluminum alloys. Welding aluminum alloys is done in mode 1. Use a welding wire of the same type as the metal being welded. Clean and degrease the area being welded. Warm the end of the welding wire thoroughly and lower it into the flux. Warm the edge details thoroughly before fusing the joints. Bring the welding wire to the joint and make it melting simultaneously with the joint. Direct the plasma jet along the joint. Follow with flux. Hold the welding wire lower and at an angle towards the joint. Change the rate of welding depending on how quickly the joint is fused. At the end of welding, thoroughly remove the remaining flux. Welding copper details. Welding copper details you conduct with ordinary water. For welding, use a cutting torch after attaching the welding nozzle. With a combination wrench, you will deepen the cathode using the welding template. When welding copper details with a thickness of more than 3 millimeters, you must use mode 2, and we recommend setting the current indicator of mode 1 to position 2. For the filler, use copper wire. First, warm the welding point. Use a soldering method for copper details up to 3 millimeters thick. If necessary, increase the rate of welding. Welding stainless steel. When welding stainless steel, you must use a 60% alcohol mixture without flux in mode 2. We recommend setting the current indicator of mode 1 to position 2. Try not to interrupt the welding process when working with stainless steel. When working with stainless steel less than 2 millimeters thick, you use a soldering method. Take the torch with a red mark. It is identical to the cutting torch. Check the diameter of the nozzle hole. It must be between 2.2 millimeters and 2.5 millimeters. If necessary, replace the nozzle. Refer to the maintenance chapter on how to do this. Turn the start button to set the free motion movement from 2 to 3 millimeters. Counterclockwise.